There is something mysterious in the world that has left its mark across the entire territory of ancient Egypt. A stone image, a figure that seems hidden in plain sight, as if invisible to our eyes despite being obvious to anyone who has ever looked at these lands. This image is a unique, carved stone cat, and it is not alone. There are many of them, scattered throughout different corners of the country. These stone-carved figures are firmly rooted in Egyptian history and culture, yet they remain largely an enigma, shrouded in mystery. They are hidden in the most unexpected places, often among giant granite boxes that are literally placed all over Egypt, as if they are mysterious guardians of ancient secrets. These boxes are not accidental structures. They are crafted with astonishing precision and accuracy, as if specially designed to store something very important and inaccessible to ordinary people. No less mysterious are the submerged shafts descending into the depths of the earth and the enormous constructions that, according to official versions, were meant to serve entirely different purposes than what they actually contain. Modern official history tells us that all these granite monoliths and structures were created using primitive tools, copper chisels, and human effort, that the era of great civilizations was built on simple technologies and physical labor. However, stone itself suggests otherwise. It whispers of forgotten technologies, of knowledge lost irretrievably, of civilizations that vanished from the face of the earth so long ago that their traces have been erased from human memory. This stone is not just a material for monuments or decorations. It is a testament to eras about which we know almost nothing, and evidence pointing to the fact that the history we are accustomed to consider as truth is merely a superficial account of a much deeper and more complex reality. These mysteries of the past are not only intriguing puzzles, they are keys to unraveling vast secrets that could change our understanding of history. They are clues in the greatest and most complex case ever hidden from human eyes. And today we begin our investigation to trace this stone trail, which leads us into the abyss of time, to the origins of who we once were, and to the shocking truth that we may have completely forgotten. This journey is not just a walk among ancient monuments, but a passage through layers of centuries to understand how the knowledge and technologies that could have transformed our present disappeared. We tend to think that history moves in a straight line, from primitive ways of existence to complex civilizations, from simple tools to modern technologies. But what if this is just an illusion? What if all our assumptions are lies, and in fact, thousands of years ago, a civilization existed on the banks of the Nile that reached such heights that our modern scientists are only beginning to grasp their scale? What if the most famous monuments of Egypt, the pyramids, temples, and statues, are not the beginning of a great history, but rather echoes, remnants of something much older and more powerful that has been forgotten and erased from human memory? To understand this, we will embark on a journey beneath the sands into the depths of the earth, to investigate evidence that mainstream science prefers to ignore or underestimate. We will descend into forbidden zones, places where researchers rarely set foot, and carefully analyze artifacts that contradict accepted chronology. These discoveries are pieces of a puzzle scattered across Egyptian land, and only by assembling them can we attempt to understand how all these fragments of history are interconnected. Prepare to have your perception of the ancient world seriously challenged. We will question everything we have believed to be true about the origins and development of civilizations. Our investigation is not just a look into the past, but an attempt to uncover secrets hidden deep within history and to understand how humanity. They managed to make them so flat that the surface reflects the silhouette of a person standing in front of them, like a mirror. This raises the question, why were such complex and technically advanced structures created? What was their true purpose? The official version suggests that these boxes were intended for storing bull mummies, which explains their technological complexity and precision. However, closer examination reveals that many of these vessels were found empty, without any remains or other artifacts inside. Moreover, the mummified remains of bulls found inside are covered with a layer of bitumen or mixed with fragments of stones, which looks more like a secondary burial rather than the original purpose of the objects. This fact raises serious questions. Why exert such superhuman effort to create these technically perfect masterpieces if they were meant to store empty or reused bodies? Why were they made with such accuracy and care if they ultimately remained empty? In one of the sarcophagi, which was opened by the famous researcher Sirupam, the first discoverer of this ancient monument, mummified remains of a bull were found. However, these remains were covered with a layer of bitumen or mixed with stone fragments, which suggests more recent interventions in secondary burials rather than the original function. This leads to the thought that these artifacts could have served other purposes. Engineer and researcher Mr. Christoph Dan, who dedicated his life to studying these mysterious objects, believes that these boxes were not intended for storing bull mummies at all. He claims they are more likely high-tech devices, possibly resonators or containers, for some energy process that we do not yet understand. This perspective is based on the fact that the incredible craftsmanship of these vessels and their complex internal structures do not align with the supposed simple purpose, storing mummies. All this inconsistency is the most significant clue. The very name Serapeum is not just a designation of a tomb or burial site. It is more like a technological imprint left by someone whose capabilities far exceeded our modern understanding of the ancient world. This object is more than just a monument. It is an anomaly that demands a thorough explanation. It leaves us with questions. Just 2 days after this mysterious expedition began, beneath a thick layer of sand, an entrance suddenly revealed something enormous and mysterious. A giant throne carved directly into the limestone slab. This was an astonishing and simultaneously disturbing discovery, as no one expected to find such a large structure hidden underground. Part 4 of 13. To their great astonishment, the researchers discovered that the interior of the throne room was filled with enormous blocks of Vesuvian stone, each weighing at least several tons. These massive boulders were scattered inside in a chaotic manner, as if someone, in haste and desperation, was trying to conceal or hide what lay beneath. There was no sign of neatness or systematic arrangement. Everything looked as if someone, rushing and panicked, was filling the entrance to seal or hide something very important and possibly dangerous. This disorderly pile resembled not a planned construction or accidental destruction, but rather an attempt to conceal evidence, clues, or a secret that could not be left in plain sight for outsiders. Barsanti and his team began a methodical and sequential clearing of the debris. They worked diligently, almost without sparing effort, lifting each stone, examining every block. Eventually, on December 8th, after descending approximately 21 meters below the surface level, the first pink granite block was revealed. This event literally made the heart in the hypologist beat faster. Pink granite, especially such a rare and valuable type as the Aswan granite, a material widely used in creating sacred and highly significant structures in antiquity, suddenly appeared in the very heart of this mysterious underground chamber. For Barsanti and his team, this meant only one thing. They were on the verge of a discovery capable of changing all notions about ancient civilizations and their culture. As the team delved deeper into the depths, more granite blocks appeared, each adding new mysteries. These massive boulders formed a kind of gigantic and complex structure at the bottom of the throne room, creating an incomprehensible and imposing pattern. By February of the following 1009 year, the team had completely cleared the bottom, which was covered with enormous granite blocks weighing 30 tons each. The most astonishing thing was that these stone blocks did not simply lie next to each other. They were connected as parts of a complex puzzle, tightly, firmly, and precisely. They were bonded by a powerful mortar, making the structure almost impenetrable and reliable, as if it were a floor. Not just a foundation, but a specially sealed surface. Barsanti was firmly convinced this was not a foundation or base, but rather a roof serving as a seal for the entrance to some underground world. He believed that beneath this granite floor lay an entrance, behind which was something far more important and mysterious than it appeared at first glance. During the excavation, workers discovered on the surface of the stones mysterious inscriptions, which consisted of complex cartouches with the names of unknown pharaohs. These writings and symbols were sent to leading Egyptologists in Cairo, hoping to obtain explanations and clarifications regarding their origin and meaning. But despite all efforts, no expert was able to reach a consensus or decipher the meaning of these symbols. The mystery grew deeper, as if the earth itself was hiding even more undisclosed secrets. At the same time, Barsanti made the most strange and unexpected discovery. In the center of the granite floor, he found a perfectly carved oval bath, made from a solid piece of pink granite. Its surface was polished to a mirror shine, and the bath was carefully sealed with layers of lime and clay. When, after a long time and with great difficulty, the lid of this vessel was removed, no treasures or mummies were found inside. Barsanti was forced to halt his excavations once again, despite all the efforts and hopes associated with this archaeological endeavor. He never managed to uncover the secret hidden beneath the earth in the area where his research was conducted. This mysterious object remained for scientists and researchers the puzzle of the century, unexplored, inexplicable, and more surprisingly, inaccessible for study. Barsanti died in 1917, leaving behind not only numerous discoveries, but also one of the greatest and most complex mysteries in the history of Egyptology. His death marked the beginning of a new chapter in unraveling the secret connected to this site, one of the most intriguing and debated in archaeological circles. And then, after decades, something even more strange and unclear happened. The site where Barsanti conducted his excavations was left unguarded and unattended for a long time, abandoned and neglected, as if forgotten by time. However, in the 1960s, when a group of Italian scientists decided to resume their work to continue the research and perhaps shed light on long-standing mysteries, a new obstacle suddenly appeared. The Egyptian government declared the entire territory known as Zawiyat El Arian a military zone, closed to outsiders. This ban was enforced with extraordinary strictness and remains in place to this day, making even simple approaches to these areas impossible. Why did this happen? What is hidden beneath this vast layer of granite and earth that prompted authorities to declare the entire region off-limits to archaeologists and curious visitors? Why did the government deem it necessary to completely secrete this territory, as if hiding something extremely important or dangerous? These questions have remained unanswered for many years and have transformed Barsanti's mystery from a purely archaeological enigma into a real geopolitical puzzle. The entire situation takes on a special sharpness, and it becomes clear that we are dealing with something more significant than just a forgotten or undiscovered ancient tomb. This mystery, seemingly connected to an abandoned archaeological zone, suddenly acquires a new, shocking meaning when viewed in the context of the most famous and simultaneously most mysterious structure on the planet, the Great Pyramid of Giza. For many centuries, legends and speculations surrounded this great architectural masterpiece, and most scholars and researchers insisted that the pyramid served as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, better known as Cheops. This theory developed over a long period and became widely accepted based on numerous archaeological finds and historical evidence. However, when facts began to clash with this established version, it started to crumble like a house of cards, and it became clear: inside the pyramid, no mummies, no treasure chests, and no burial artifacts, which according to the traditional view should have accompanied the pharaoh's burial, have ever been found. The most astonishing thing is that the chamber, which was believed to be his final resting place, is an empty, roughly hewn granite box without a lid, executed in a very simple style. Moreover, the pyramid's very structure, with its complex system of narrow shafts, long galleries and chambers, does not in essence resemble a construction intended for storing the remains of an ancient ruler or his riches. This raises even more questions and doubts, since that is the very nature of tombs. They were supposed to be not only a resting place for the body, but also a safeguard for treasures and relics. In the 1960s, an engineer named Edward Kunkel proposed a rather radical hypothesis. He suggested that the Great Pyramid is not a tomb at all, but a giant hydraulic pump designed for irrigating the desert. According to him, the internal chambers and passageways might have been part of this mechanism. Perhaps this is why this mysterious structure was so urgently and secretly concealed. It holds within it evidence of ancient technologies capable of completely changing our conventional understanding of human history. These testimonies of incredible engineering achievements by ancient peoples go beyond mere mentions of Giza and the pyramids, revealing an entire era of technological progress that has long been kept silent. One of the most striking examples of this is the description of a city known as Sidiat, which existed in the 5th century BC. Its contemporary, the father of history, left detailed records of a construction that, according to him, surpassed in magnificence even the famous pyramids and temples of Egypt. His account speaks of a giant labyrinth located near the pyramid in the Havar area. He claimed that it was not just a building, but a highly complex architectural complex, comprising thousands of rooms, half of which were above ground and the other half underground. In his writings, he stated, "I saw this structure with my own eyes and can say that it surpasses any description one can imagine." According to him, if all the walls and all the magnificent creations of the Greeks were combined, it would take less effort and resources than to build this one labyrinth. These words were not the only ones. Later, the Greek geographer Strabo, known for his passion for studying ancient monuments, also described this site. He wrote about monolithic ceilings and walls, each made from massive blocks of stone, carefully selected and joined together. For a long time, stories about the labyrinth were considered more of a legend or myth than reality. And only at the end of the 19th century did the first scientific confirmations appear. At that time, the famous British archaeologist Flinders Petrie began excavations at the foot of the Havar Pyramid, located near an ancient village, at a site previously thought to be useless for archaeological research. Beneath a layer of later construction, underground structures, and layers of time, he discovered a vast number of fragments of stone blocks and debris, all that remained of a colossal structure. The size of these remnants matched the descriptions given by ancient authors, allowing Petrie to conclude that this was the legendary labyrinth. He deduced that this complex was so enormous it could contain entire Karnak and Luxor temples combined, creating a structure surpassing all known ancient monuments in scale. Unfortunately, time and human activity did not spare this unique site. During the Roman era, the labyrinth was destroyed. Its stone walls were dismantled and broken apart to extract materials for new buildings and fortifications. However, despite this, the story of this structure did not end. In the 21st century, in 2008, a team of geophysicist scientists involved in a project called Madaha began scanning the area using modern ground-penetrating radar. Their results were truly astonishing. Deep beneath the surface, where Petrie had mistaken the foundation for the actual structure, the radar detected a dense network of walls, rooms, and corridors located at depths of 8 to 12 meters. This indicated that what was previously thought to be the remains of a destroyed building, just its roof or upper part, was only a fraction. The main part of the labyrinth, its underground section, could very well have remained intact, untouched by centuries and natural phenomena. For a long time, these findings remained hidden because scientists could not officially publish them. Authorities mainly feared the potential consequences and believed that disclosing such information could threaten the country's national security. The project leader Zykovas and the Supreme Council for Archaeology and History of Egypt decided to impose a temporary ban on publishing the data, citing architectural and geological features that tell completely different, sometimes opposing stories from those usually associated with well-known temples and ancient monuments. One of these astonishing objects is Assyrian, a mysterious structure built from massive megalithic blocks of pink granite, whose purpose and origin raised numerous questions among scientists and researchers. Some of these stone blocks are incredibly heavy, reaching a weight of about 100 tons, making their transportation and installation a truly grand technical achievement of ancient builders. These massive blocks are carefully fitted together with exceptional precision without the use of mortar, creating an impression not just of craftsmanship, but of the highest technological sophistication and engineering ingenuity. In contrast, the masonry style used in the construction of the neighboring temples within the temple network is noticeably different and appears less refined, more rough and primitive compared to the delicate precision with which the Assyrian megaliths are assembled. Interestingly, the architectural style of Assyrian resembles more the megalithic monuments known in Peru or Bolivia than the traditional Egyptian architectural styles. In South America, ancient artisans created giant monuments from large stone blocks, joining them without mortar to form durable structures that amazed with their accuracy and strength. But the most remarkable aspect of Assyrian is its complete lack of any images, hieroglyphs, or iconographic decorations characteristic of Egyptian temples. While Egyptian structures are like stone books, with every centimeter of their surface covered in inscriptions, images of gods, mythological scenes, and everyday stories, Assyrian stands as a silent monument. Its massive bare walls contain no reliefs or carved details and seem to communicate not through words but through their scale, power, and precision of execution. Interestingly, the location of this megalithic complex is significantly lower than the foundation level of the temple network to which it belongs. It is situated approximately 15 meters below the surface, raising questions about its origin and the chronological sequence of constructions. Perhaps when the temple network was built, Assyrian already existed as an ancient, nearly abandoned ruin, covered by a layer of sand and time. Archaeologists suggest that the ancient builders, upon discovering this mysterious structure, decided to incorporate it into their architectural fabric by constructing a new temple around it, thus creating a unique complex that combines different eras and styles. But the main enigma of Assyrian is its water. At the center of this structure is a platform surrounded by a rocky canyon or channel that is constantly filled with water. This channel, like living blood, runs through the entire construction, and despite numerous attempts by scientists to drain the water to investigate what lies beneath the surface, it repeatedly returns. It seems that the source of this water is hidden within the structure itself, and it is not connected to the nearby Nile or regional surface groundwater. Water in the Assyrian possesses a unique chemical composition, and its properties remain a mystery to researchers to this day. For decades, archaeologists and scientists have tried to understand the nature of this water source, but without success. A researcher named James Westerman, who dedicated many years to studying the Assyrian, discovered astonishing anomalies. The temperature of the water inside this enigmatic structure is several degrees higher than in the surrounding wells and springs, which directly contradicts the laws of thermodynamics and raises serious doubts about the natural origin of this phenomenon. It would seem that water should cool down upon contact with the environment, yet inside the Assyrian, it appears to be heated from within by an invisible energy source that defies explanation according to modern science. Geological studies add another layer of mystery. On the walls made of limestone, materials surrounding the granite core of the Assyrian, traces of intense water erosion have been found. This shaft is a complex engineering structure consisting of a vertical well carved directly into the rock at a significant depth, about 35 meters. The well is divided into 3 levels, each hiding its own secrets and mysteries, raising more and more questions among researchers. Access to these levels is via modern, though rather fragile, ladders located in darkness, where light is almost absent. The very descent into such conditions is a real test for a person, requiring not only physical endurance, but also courage, as the surrounding darkness and the sense of the unknown make this journey especially tense. The first level of the shaft is an empty room, with no noticeable artifacts or remnants of the past. The second chamber, located slightly below, proved to be much more interesting. There, 6 niches carved directly into the stone walls were discovered, along with a granite sarcophagus, which arouses particular curiosity among scientists and researchers. However, the most astonishing and mysterious is located on the 3rd lowest level. Descending into this depth, you find yourself in a flooded cave, where amidst water and the stone silence, an incredible scene is hidden. In the center of the underground lake rises a stone island, on which stands another massive sarcophagus carved from granite. This scene literally transports us into the legends and myths of ancient Egypt, reminiscent of the mythical Egyptian story of Osiris, whose tomb is located on an island surrounded by chaos and primal elements. This image is not a figment of imagination, but a reality carved into the rock, which seems to exist independently of our time. Its discovery and study suggests that this shaft is not a simple burial structure, as commonly believed, but a much more complex and multi-layered object. Part 10 of 13. The official historical science classifies it as belonging to the late epoch. However, recent research completely refutes such assumptions. In particular, the sarcophagus discovered on the 2nd level was analyzed using optically stimulated luminescence, a method that allows determining the last time the mineral was exposed to sunlight. The results of this analysis were astonishing. It turned out that the stone from which the sarcophagus was made had not been exposed to sunlight for at least 33rd centuries BCE. This means that this sarcophagus is much older than the dates assigned by modern archaeology to the pyramids. Thus, the shaft, presumably associated with Assyrian or Egyptian cults, existed long before the era of pharaohs Khufu and Khafre, dating back to ancient times when civilizations were just beginning to develop. But the mysteries do not end there. The material used to make one of the sarcophagi is volcanic rock, which is not found in Egypt, where, as is well known, there are no native deposits of such stone. Geological studies confirm that the nearest sources of this material are in Europe, raising even more questions about the routes of its transportation. How did ancient builders manage to transport a massive block from another continent and then place it in a 30-meter deep shaft beneath Giza? This logistics challenge seems insurmountable even for modern technological progress and amazes with its complexity and scale. Once again, we are faced with signs of unknown technologies, unfamiliar to modern humanity. Inside the sarcophagi, signs of increased radiation levels have been recorded. One of them was coated on the inside with a thin layer of bitumen, beneath which a metallic coating containing lead was found. Lead is a well-known excellent insulator against radiation today, and its presence raises even more questions. How and why did ancient builders use such materials inside sarcophagi? What purpose did these protective coatings serve? Security, magical, or other? These mysteries, these enigmatic structures are not the work of dynastic Egypt. They are a unique legacy left by much older and technologically advanced civilizations that thrived in the Nile Valley thousands of years before the emergence of the first pharaohs. These civilizations possessed knowledge and skills, enabling them to create such monumental structures, which in scale and complexity surpassed everything known from later periods. Importantly, these ruins were not built by the Egyptians, known from historical sources. They were discovered and remained hidden beneath a layer of time. The Egyptians themselves, the dynastic rulers who later took on the role of creators of a great culture, can be considered more as heirs to this ancient legacy. They built their pyramids from mud bricks and small limestone blocks, often atop the massive ruins left by civilizations that had long since vanished. Their architecture and construction methods were markedly different. They attempted to imitate these ancient sacred sites, striving to reproduce their form in their own structures. But in terms of craftsmanship and technological capabilities, they could not achieve the same level of perfection as their predecessors. These ancient structures are not merely ruins, but evidence of highly advanced technologies and knowledge. For this reason, modern dynastic Egyptians could not fully understand their true purpose. They found these sites, revered them as sacred, and even tried to replicate elements of them in their own buildings, but often remained unaware of the profound technologies hidden within these megaliths. As a result, many coffins in the shafts associated with Osiris turned out to be empty, and in the Serapeum, bearing inscriptions and records describing ancient knowledge, they were absent. The pharaohs used these artifacts as sacred relics, but did not comprehend how they were created or what their original purpose was. This concept helps explain a series of contradictions and mysteries related to ancient Egypt and its history. It accounts for why stone processing technology in Egypt did not develop gradually. Instead, it degraded over time. The oldest structures are essentially the most perfect of their kind. Their precision, scale, and craftsmanship astonish modern researchers. This also explains the use of granite and diorite, materials that, given the level of processing and complexity for the era of the dynasties, seemed almost impossible to work with. Traces of machines left on stone artifacts, such as the famous granite block Cairn 7, testify to the existence of high-precision tools and powerful technologies. For example, this block was shaped with spiral grooves, reaching depths of 2.5 millimeters per revolution, a speed that could only be achieved by a high-speed drill with immense pressure. Modern diamond drills are incapable of reaching such specifications, indicating the presence of technologies far beyond our understanding. But which civilization could possess such knowledge and technology? We do not know its name, as it is hidden behind the centuries, yet the tangible traces of its presence are undeniable. It was a civilization that mastered advanced stoneworking skills, possessed complex engineering, and perhaps had knowledge of minute vibrations and frequencies, as well as processes related to energy and radiation. How else can we explain the level of mastery with which these megastructures were created? It was a culture that apparently held a completely different view of the world and technology. Its worldview differed fundamentally from what we are accustomed to today. Researcher René Rodolphe Schwaller de Lubitsch, who dedicated decades to studying the temples in Luxor, discovered astonishing features of their architecture. He concluded that these structures were built on principles of transparency and transposition. In other words, images and symbols on one wall perfectly complement and continue the same motifs on another, as if the stone was transparent to the creators, allowing them to see through it. This suggests a completely different understanding of reality. Why then did these ancient and mysterious knowledge become lost in the depths of centuries? What horrifying catastrophes could have destroyed our civilization so thoroughly that it vanished from the face of the earth, leaving only traces in mysterious ruins and forgotten chronicles? Perhaps it was an event so vast and destructive that entire states were wiped out, leaving behind only enigmatic monuments, such as stone structures and statues capable of withstanding centuries or even millennia. These monuments were created with such precision and craftsmanship that modern scientists still marvel at their capabilities. They could move and process enormous stone blocks, weighing hundreds or thousands of tons, seemingly using technologies completely unknown to us. The dazzling laser-like precision in working these stones raises the question, how did ancient craftsmen achieve such accuracy, and what tools or methods did they use? It is also worth contemplating the most troubling aspect. Why do modern authorities and the scientific community so stubbornly cling to the existing, long-outdated paradigm despite numerous pieces of evidence contradicting it? Why do scientific circles and government structures so persistently ignore or even conceal facts pointing to other, more ancient and mysterious sources of knowledge about our history? Why, for example, is the zone known as the Laurian Plateau closed off? Why is there ongoing strict military security? And why can no one enter these lands without special permission? What exactly is hidden behind the walls of this mysterious site? The discovery of underground labyrinths, reportedly located beneath the surface, has been met with suspicion and attempts at censorship. Why do authorities go to such lengths to prevent widespread publicity about findings, indicating the existence of ancient underground structures, possibly much older than known civilizations? What is concealed beneath the sands of the giant Giza monuments or in the mysterious underground zones known as Abydos? What secrets, hidden for centuries, remain inaccessible to researchers? What are they preventing us from accessing in order to understand the true history of humanity? All these questions remain unanswered, and that is precisely what makes them so enigmatic. However, one thing is clear. The official version of Egypt's history is only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath it lies a deep, dark, and little explored layer of ancient history, filled with cryptic symbols and unknown facts. This hidden layer contains dark and mysterious artifacts that demand special attention and investigation. Until humanity dares to delve into this uncharted world, we will never fully know the truth about who we really are, where our ancestors came from, and how many ancient civilizations disappeared, leaving behind only enigmatic ruins and legends. The stone, this ancient bearer of secrets, holds not only its mysteries but also clues capable of shedding light on forgotten pages of the past. It is a witness to epochs embedded in its structure, and it may well be the key to solving many mysteries. Therefore, it is the duty of every conscious person to continue exploring and seeking the truth, carefully studying every find and piece of evidence. The more we learn, the clearer it becomes that many ancient secrets remain hidden behind the veil of time, and our knowledge of the past is only a small part of the truth. What are your thoughts on all this? Do you believe that these anomalies and mysterious discoveries are convincing evidence of long-extinct civilizations lost in the darkness of the ages? Or perhaps they have a simpler and more logical explanation that does not require hypotheses about ancient technologies or a great catastrophe? Share your thoughts in the comments below, as your opinion is important for expanding the dialogue and seeking the truth. If you are interested in further research, uncovering the mysteries of ancient history, and finding answers to questions that have long puzzled humanity, we recommend paying close attention to our materials.